So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Cornwall may only get a maximum of £3 million from the government to directly replace the £100 million it has lost after Brexit. There's some tomfoolery in this article where there are available funds, obviously nowhere close to 100 million, for the people of Cornwall, the Council of Cornwall, to apply for, and for some reason they've chosen not to. Not sure why, but that money was already allocated, before Brexit, or this year, was allocated to the people of Cornwall, the council, in order to help stimulate the economy. Well done. You've lost £97 million in a year. So, prior to Brexit, Cornwall had qualified for funding from the European Union due to it being recognised as one of the poorest regions in Europe. And that's down to essentially the government, where David Cameron cut a load of funding for certain areas. And, the EU were there to replace the money that was taken away by David Cameron. Now all of that money's gone, essentially, and there is no replacement for it. And the people in Cornwall will struggle as a result, but they knew what they were voting for. As a result, Cornwall could have been receiving £100 million a year to help provide economic stimulus and support projects which would provide everything from employment and skills to infrastructure, things that would have helped the economy in Cornwall. Prime Minister Johnson had previously stated that Cornwall would not miss out on any funding that it would have received if the UK had remained in the EU, which we know is a lie. The people of Cornwall know it's a lie. Are they going to do anything about it? Are they going to vote differently? The answer is no. However, it has been revealed that the Shared Prosperity Fund, which has been put forward as the mechanisms to provide that replacement funding, will not start until 2022. Essentially, it's not that kind of that level up fund. It's not going to happen until next year. Even then, it might be delayed even more, as I'm guessing Dishy Rishi wouldn't be a fan of such a scheme anyways, and that money is going to be nowhere near the 100 million that they've lost, I think, this year. So potentially they could have lost around 200 million. It's been revealed, so it's been delayed until 2022, and that pilot scheme, the Community Renewal Fund, worth 220 million for the whole of the country, will only allow local authorities to bid for a maximum of £3 million. So that's it. They've lost, hundreds of millions of pounds essentially because of Brexit. Cornwall Council is going to bid for the full £3 million, but there is not enough cash to fulfil that for every council, so some councils may get less or nothing at all. So the government could do it by need, which they're not going to do. They're going to do it by which constituencies are marginal, especially, and which ones are Tory, give the money to them, screw over the Labour councils. That's how they're going to do it. The council is set to ask for £700 million from the Shared Prosperity Fund over the next 10 years from 2022 to replace the funding it would have received from the EU, but that's not going to happen, and that's already less than what they would have gotten from the EU already. They would have gotten around £1 billion over the next 10 years from the EU. That £700 million is way less, and they're not even going to get that. In addition, Cornwall Council has decided not to apply for money from the government's Levelling Up Fund after Cornwall was placed in the second priority band for the scheme. So it's possible that the council in Cornwall knew they were going to get rejected, or just very incompetent. I don't know. While Cornwall has not bid for the money in the first phase of Levelling Up programme, it's considering bidding for later phases of funding. I mean, why? I don't get it. Why are the council doing this? Unless they know they're going to get rejected, I don't get it. Conservative councillors and MPs have previously highlighted that Cornwall has had millions of pounds of funding from schemes such as the Towns Deals scheme and other government programmes. Well, clearly it's not enough if they still need EU funding and have been declared one of the poorest regions within Europe. That's not something you hold up proudly. Critics say that money has not been specifically to replace EU funding, and is also available to other parts of the country. So the money that's being promised to them will be less, and it's not special to Cornwall like the EU money was. Tim Dwelly, independent councillor at Cornwall Council, said the government's Conservative-led council should now be putting pressure on the government and Prime Minister to deliver on its promises that Cornwall will not lose out on replacement EU funding. Well, they're just going to blame the pandemic for that, aren't they? So there's no money, G. He said, we're in a year... Oops. Get rid of that. We are in a year where we would have had £100 million coming to Cornwall if we had stayed in the EU. There is a pilot scheme for the Shared Prosperity Fund, which is called the Community Renewal Fund, and we have been told to bid for up to £3 million. We don't even know if that will come. So essentially, they've lost 100 million. It's not even 97 million. They could have lost around 100 million for the whole of Cornwall. And they need that money desperately, especially since it's a very poor area, and especially after the pandemic as well. The council chose not to apply for any levelling up funding and has been banging on about how a combination of funds would replace EU money, but that is not the replacement funding. That is money which is available to all parts of the UK, so it's not even designed to replace what they have lost. Cornwall was given EU funding because of its unique status. There has been no replacement funding provided by the government. Good luck, you just lost £100 million. You know, I hope the people of Cornwall knew what they were voting for, because this is grim reading. At best, Cornwall will get 3 million this year. Anyone can work out that's not 100 million. This isn't This is leveling down. It's not just leveling down. It's vicious leveling down. This is essentially Super Mario not getting hit by a Goomba and losing his mushroom. This is Super Mario jumping in the lava and dying. That's how bad this is going to be for the economy of Cornwall. Grim stuff here. You know, it potentially lost £100 million in a year where they desperately would have needed it above most other years. What more can you say apart from, you know, well done. This is welcome to the Brexit, sir. Because this is the reality of the situation. The government never had any intention of replacing the funds. It's the government, initially David Cameron, who took away this money from certain areas, which forced, you know, essentially the EU to help out these areas. So well done, guys. You played yourselves. Councillor Dwelly said, "We will do everything we can to take back control of Cornwall from people willing to put up and excuse such appalling mistreatment of us by the government." I mean, good luck, pal. But if the council does change hands by some miracle, you're just going to get less money from the government because you're not a Tory council. They've got no, this government loves pork barrel politics, essentially, which is, funding local economies or projects or whatever in exchange for getting Tory votes. If you don't vote Tory, you don't get money. This government loves it far too much, and the reality of the situation is that they ain't going to get the money. Like, they've lost 100 million a year, and next year they're probably going to lose another 100 million or around then. But I'm sure the great people of Cornwall always knew what they were voting for. The councillors and everyone involved in voting for Brexit and supporting the Tories, they all knew this was going to happen, and this is the price you pay for sovereignty. And the price the people of Cornwall paid was around 100 million in direct cash funds from the EU. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.